I'm going to show you how to get this Bultaco cover to look exactly the way it did from the factory. Now, from the factory, these Bultaco letters, they're nice and polished, they're shiny just the way you see them right here. But behind them, where it's indented a little bit, that area was black. I'm going to show you with some simple tools that you probably have at home, nothing more than some masking tape, a very pointy pen, and an X-Acto knife. Make sure you got a new blade. If you have those four things, maybe a little masking paper, I'm going to show you how you can get the results the way they came from the factory. There's several different ways how people do this, but I'm going to show you the one that's easiest for you to do. You'll be able to do it at home. The first thing I did here was make sure I had tape wide enough to cover the lettering where it says Bultaco. I gently placed it over all the letters from left to right. Now, I used a pen here so you could see it clearer on camera. What you should really be using is a very, very sharp pencil, so you can get right in there on the outline of each letter. And that pencil may even start to cut a little bit into that tape as you're going around. It'll look like that. You'll be able to see it clearer when it's in front of you. You get your X-Acto knife, make sure you have a nice sharp blade in there, and then you follow the lines that you made with your pencil. You don't want to press too hard to cut through the tape, and you won't have to because the pencil mark will already be there. If you do press a little bit hard and you put a little scratch next to the letter, it's nothing to be too alarmed about. You're going to be putting a coat of prime over that and a coat of paint. You'll never see it when it's done. After I got through cutting out all the letters, I removed the excess, as you can see here in the video. And what I had was some letters nicely taped off that are going to remain shiny after we begin to paint it. I followed up with some masking tape on the edges. And again, I followed the indentation around the logo with that pen. Then I followed up by cutting it out with my X-Acto knife. I followed up with some masking paper. I made sure that the Kickstarter area was well protected because you don't want any overspray getting in under your tape or under your masking paper when you go to spray it after you're done masking it. And as you can see here, I just folded everything up nice and neat underneath, and it's ready to go, ready to be primed and painted. Now, it'll look like this when you're done. This is another Bultaco ignition cover that I did a little while back. As you can see, if you take your time, and it probably will take you a couple of hours by the time you get done with the tape and cutting everything out. If you take your time, you'll have a beautiful finish just like that. When the paint dries really, really well, you can go over everything again, remove any glue or anything you might have with a little compound. You can bring up a shine in any areas that may have gotten a little scuff on it while you were working on it. With that cover, just the way you see it right here, you can also mask it off around the edges the same way I did and paint the entire thing in the center. Paint it. You can paint the letters too. What you can do after that is you can get a sanding block like this, okay? And then you can cover the edge with some wet or dry sandpaper, and you can go back and forth with it wet with like 1000 grit paper and go back and forth gently and sand away the paint that's there. What I explained to you here can be done also, well, can be done on any bike that has raised lettering on it. Could be an Osa, could be a Honda, it could be anything. It can be done a couple of different ways. If you're more comfortable with the masking and cutting it out nice and even like that, that's a great way to do it. If you're not, and you just want to do it with some with a sanding block and some 1000 grit wet or dry paper and gently go back and forth over those letters, you can do it that way too.